Hi, guys, and welcome to my new podcast, Love Letters from Your Higher Self. I'm so excited. This is not my first podcast, and not even my second, and not even my fifth podcast. What can I say? I love talking to you guys, and I love creating content in this format. And I want to shortly share with you who I am in case you are not coming from one of my podcasts and you're a new listener. And I want to also share why the name, why did I choose this name, and what can you expect from this podcast. So, my name is Dasha. I am bilingual. I live in Russia. I'm Russian, and I speak English fluently, but like not perfect. And I'm learning to live with that because my inner perfectionist is suffering sometimes, but less and less with every new episode. I have another podcast in English called Joyous to Be, and this is the podcast where I share my ideas, where I share my wisdom. I am a channeler, I'm a life coach, I am a self-love and boundaries coach. Like I have been a lot of things over the years. I've been doing this work for like 5 years, and I was a transformational coach. I was helping people to heal their trauma, and I was helping people to heal their what's it called in English, abuse from narcissistic upbringing. um like, what's it called, I don't know. Like, I worked with people who suffered narcissistic abuse as children, and like we healed a lot of stuff. I helped people to do a lot of things, heal their relationship with money, heal their relationship in a romantic partnership. I did a lot of things, and what I learned, I loved how one person from a podcast I was listening to said, like a few days ago, I was listening to a podcast, and the person there said that like she was not self. I was going to say self coach. What's it called? She was a coach for for a lot of years, for some years, and what she learned is that, like, of course, she loved working with people and helping people, but like her main lesson, her major lesson, was that it was all about her, and this practice of helping people, of coaching, helped her to go deeper within herself and to learn more about herself and realize that this journey is most, like, first and foremost, is about her. And like this resonated with me because I've been doing a lot of stuff. I help people with a lot of things, and I realized that, like, first and foremost, it's about me. And I believe that, like, according to human design, there are people who are oriented on other people, and they help other people with profiles, like with who have 4, 5, and 6 in their profiles. Those are people who are actually oriented on other people, and they're interested in other people and helping other people, and like it's like one big part of their mission. And there are people like me. I am profile 2-4 in human design, and like, even though I have a 4, but it's like, it's subconscious, and I'm here to learn me, to study myself, and to do things for myself. And this is my main motivator. And while, like, during all this time that I tried to, to mimic others and to pretend that helping others is my main mission in life, I was lying to myself, and I was not happy. And only after I accepted for myself that I feel so good when I just am being an introvert that I am, and I'm just reading books and listening to podcasts, and do a lot of self-healing work and shadow work. And then I alchemize my knowledge and my insights, and then I share them in a format that is inspiring and like comfortable for me via podcasts. that's when I shine. That's when I attract people who then are grateful for the knowledge that I share with them. Like, this is me. And so I stopped coaching, and I this brought me to the next chapter in my life where I started channeling. I was channeling before, and I had a whole practice where I would just close my eyes and I learned to do this how Esther Hicks was doing it. Although I was not speaking forth, I was writing but in the same manner. I would meditate, I would spend some time calming my thoughts, and then I would start, I would set an intention and I would start receiving words and I would write them down, and I would receive more and more thought forms, and I was writing the whole posts on my blog, channeled. And then I found an oracle deck, and actually it found me because I was in a store with my husband, and we were in a bookstore. And while he was looking for something, my husband was looking for something, I just, I was just in my flow, being in my flow, and I felt like the urge to go to one shelf, and I just went there and I saw oracle decks and tarot decks. And I was like, I had a tarot deck at home, but I didn't know how to use it. I didn't feel connected to it. And I was just like, I thought that it would be nice to learn how to read it, but I was not very interested, and it was complicated. The tarot structure felt complicated to me. And I liked one oracle deck, which is called the Goddess Temple, and I I liked it. I looked at it, and then I didn't buy it, and we decided to go home, and we left the mall where we were, and I felt like I don't know why, I couldn't explain, but I felt like I need that deck, even though I can't read decks. I can't read cards. I have no idea. I don't understand how to work with them. And I shared this with my husband, and I said, let's go back and buy this deck. I don't know why, but I just choose, I hear this urge, I hear this desire within me, and I choose to follow it, even though I don't know where it's gonna lead me. And we went back and we bought that deck, and that evening I opened the deck and I looked at the cards, and I thought that these are very beautiful cards, but I still don't know what to do with them. And I put the deck away and I didn't touch it for a month maybe. And then one day I was just it happened a few times after, when I just felt like just holding them, and I would take them and I would play with them, just look at the pictures, and I didn't know how to work with them, and I put them away. And then one day I was like, okay, I feel the calling to play with the cards again, but I don't know what to do with them. Let's just set an intention and see how it goes. Let's just pretend that we are going to read cards, but I don't know how to do it, and I will not share this with anybody. I will just do it for myself. And I set an intention, I asked a question, and it was a question about my sister. I asked what's my sister's superpower, something like that. And I just pulled a few cards and I looked at them, and I felt this flow that I used to feel when I was just channeling and writing posts, in channeling, during channel posts. And I just wrote a whole, in Russian I call it a wall of text, just a long letter of everything that was coming. My neighbor's child is crying, in case you hear him. And it just was a familiar feeling for me, that I just had blocks of thoughts that I needed to write down, and I didn't think about it. I was just writing whatever was coming, and only after I finished and only after I read this whole letter, it started making sense to me, and I was like, interesting. I don't know what it's about. Um, the majority of it doesn't really make much sense to me, and I just sent it to my sister because I could trust her, and I sent her, said, like, read it, and could you please share if it resonates or if it's a total bullshit. And she answered, like, she said, yes, it resonates a lot. It's all about me, and I'm sitting in a taxi crying. And I was like, oh, so I can read cards. Interesting. And I was trying, like, I started doing this for other people, and I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust what was coming through. But I was listening to and learning from coaches who were talking about this, that like trusting your intuition is scary sometimes, and you receive messages that don't make sense to you. But if you choose to trust yourself, like it will make sense for your clients, for other people. And I started doing that, and I started receiving great feedback from people, and I chose to, to make it my career. I worked with people. I still work with people, and now like my main service that I do for people is this channeling session, like channeling slash coaching session, where my main priority is to be this guide, to be this interpreter that enables communication between my client and their higher self, and or universe or angels or spirit team or spirit guides, like whatever you choose to call it. But this source energy, this unconditional love, this pure positive energy, that is the unconditional love and support. And I just call myself an interpreter from the vibrational into Russian or into English, depends on like which language I speak with my client. And sometimes I feel called, because I was a coach, because I have this life experience, and because I have a lot of stories and a lot of insights. I sometimes feel called to share some practices that could help my client, and do some coaching, and like hold space for a person, and like share some stories and like stuff like that. But it's like mostly channeling with the elements of coaching sessions. And a year ago, or maybe less than a year ago, I started a pick a card podcast in Russian. And I realized that I love this work because I love playing with cards, and I help people, because there were times in my life where I was listening to, like, where I couldn't hear myself clearly because I was drowning in fear, or like my old programming, and my shadow and my, I don't know, fear. I want to say fear mostly. And I couldn't hear myself clearly. I was doubting myself. And I was listening to, I was listening to other people's pick a card readings. And it helped me, and it led me, and it led me to back to myself. It guided me back to myself. It helped me to trust myself more, and to, discern where, like, what my fears are saying and what my inner guidance is saying, because I was receiving this reassurance from the readers. And because of how this work helped me, I wanted to do the same thing, because it was in a format that was exciting for me, even like exactly in a podcast. I know that there are not a lot of podcasts with pick a card readings. It's like my thing, because even now in English, maybe I was looking like not proper, not, what's it called? Like maybe there are podcasts with pick a card readings. I didn't find any in English. I still believe that I think my pick a card reading podcast in Russian is the only one with pick a card readings, a podcast, because usually it's videos, in a video format. And in English, I didn't find any, so I will just decide for myself that this is gonna be like the first thing I will be the first. And just because video is not the thing for me, I like sitting on my bed without worrying about the setting, the setup, just sitting on my bed and doing card readings and recording them for you. And this is how I'm gonna do it. This is why it's a podcast. I'm a coach, a channeler, a mentor. Who am I? I don't know. I'm an intuitive card reader. I don't believe that I talk to cards. I don't predict future. I believe that cards just help me to focus, and channel. I also don't work with entities, and I choose to only receive messages from your higher self. And this brings me to the second thing that I wanted to talk to you about, is why this podcast is called the way it is. My Russian podcast with pick a card readings is called With Love Your Soul, like from your soul with love. And ever since it was a year ago, and after that I've had a lot of conversations with people, and I realized that soul means different things for different people. And if we talk about something bigger than us that has our our best interests at heart and wants to guide us and loves us unconditionally, some people call it spirit, some people call it God, some people disagree that soul is not that, and some people call it angels and archangels. And this whole concept is so loaded, and I wanted to be apart from all of that. I didn't want to call it God because I myself a few years ago had a very complicated relationship with this word, with the concept of God. I have some religious trauma. I wanted to call it universe, although for me it feels different, the higher self and the universe. I don't know how to explain it other than just that it feels different for me. This is why I decided to call it higher self. And I mean this, I believe the way I see it is that our higher self is the universe, is this higher part of us as one, this pure positive non-physical energy that is we are part of it. We're made out of this energy. And this is why it's this, somebody can call it library of knowledge. Somebody can call it I like how Abraham says, your inner being, the non-physical energy, and that is pure love. This is what I mean. And this is for me is what our higher self is about. It's part of that non-physical energy that has our best interest at heart. And somebody call it spirit, and somebody call it God, and somebody call it universe, and you're welcome here. And I just want to share with you how I see it, because I feel it's important for me to explain why I chose higher self. Although my second option was love letters from the universe, which is actually now I'm saying it and it feels loving and it feels beautiful, and maybe I don't know, higher self feels loving too. This is why I decided to maybe partly I also decided to call it higher self, love letters from your higher self, not from the universe, because I have this element when I define for myself what the universe means for me and what the higher self means for me. Higher self has this element of when we have dreams and we want our dreams to come true for us, we align with the version of us that already has it, and this version of us feels differently, and it thinks differently, right? And so this is why when I say that I receive guidance from a higher self, I always have this additional what's it called, additional energy additional feeling of like that this higher self knows better and clearer what we need to come closer to it, and this is why like it's a little bit different than the universe. This is how I see it. But again, like, you're welcome here no matter what you think, no matter what you are, what's the difference for you between soul and spirit and higher self and God and universe. It's just that, like, I felt that it was important for me to share with you how I view it, so you would decide for yourself, are we on the same page or not? And, like, will my readings be triggering for you or not? And I also wanted to say that sometimes I will in my readings call it universe, your spirit team, your spirit guides, your higher self, like whatever I feel called to call it. And what is the third thing that I wanted to share with you? Oh, what to expect here. So basically, it's going to be pick a card readings. I like one of the biggest reasons why I decided to also start a podcast in English with pick a card readings is because I live in Russia and I want to practice English. And this podcast will help me to have practice of speaking English, of spoken English, because it's important for me, because I love English, because I studied it for 5 years in the university, and then like it was 10 years ago, and then for 10 years English has been like for 15 years if we count the university years. It's been a big part of my life. I always loved saying that, like, I was born in Russia but my soul speaks English, not a very good English, as you can hear, because like maybe it was just more comfortable for me, because ever since I started speaking English a little bit in high school, I started keeping my journals in English so no one could read them, because I didn't trust that my parents wouldn't, if they would find my diary. I didn't trust that they wouldn't read it and respect my privacy. So I started writing in my journals in English. And because of that, maybe it was more comfortable for me to speak my truth and to be more authentic and truthful, in English. Maybe that led to me loving to express myself in English. And I also heard it from many bilingual people that you have different persona when you speak your native language and when you speak your language, like the second language or the third language. And it's been 15 years, you guys, like those two personas are part of me. And it was a long battle for me, where I tried to decide which language do I need to choose. Do I want to choose to be my main language for content creation? And there were times where I would choose just English, and then I would miss my Russian persona, because she's different and she has different sense of humor, and I miss her. And then there were times where I chose my Russian as my main language for my content creation, and I would miss my English persona, because she's different, because she adds to my personality. And this is why the decision that I made a few months ago is that I will take it slow. I won't and I had long conversations about this on my Joyous to Be podcast, where I shared this. There is an episode there called Confessions of a Bilingual Content Creator, or a bilingual channeler, I can't remember, but I will leave the number of that episode and the name of the podcast here in the show notes of this podcast, of this episode, for you, if in case you're interested in my story, you will be able to hear more about this. And if you're interested in me and in my story and in my thoughts, I would be happy to have you as a listener on my Joyous to Be podcast, because it's more me, and it's more about me and my insights, and it's still about personal development, spiritual growth, and self-help and stuff like that, insights, manifestation, law of attraction, all the things that I love so much. And yeah, so this podcast is going to be mostly about pick a card readings, and because you don't have a video and you won't be able to look at the cards to choose one for you, like again, it's up to you to decide whether this format works for you or not. I usually what I do is I make like 3 or 4 piles, and I pick for every pile a Lenormand card, like a card from a Lenormand oracle, and I use the cards from the Lenormand oracle as identifier cards. So I will name for you, like for pile number 1 it's the fox card, for pile number 2 it's like the sheep card, the sheep, not sheep, sheep. I have problem with sheep versus sheep, and like etc, and that way you will be able to pick for yourself based on your associations. Like usually this is how it goes. And I think that that's it. I think that's all I wanted to share with you. And I also have a YouTube channel. I also have like a link tree on in my show notes, and I am at Dasha Thinks on Instagram. And because usually how I called myself was Dasha Talks, and I used to stream on Twitch in 2 languages, and I was Dasha Talks. But then I had to somehow divide my English like accounts and my Russian accounts, and my English and Russian YouTube channels and Instagram accounts. And I decided like the best thing that I came up with through trial and error was Dasha Thinks and Dasha Talks. Although I'm thinking that maybe I need to rename my English one and call it like Dasha Talks / English, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, in case it's not Dasha Thinks, check the show notes of the newest episodes in case I changed my handle. But that's all I wanted to share in the trailer. I'm not even sure like how long should the trailer be. I was thinking that like this is the first ever trailer for all my podcasts that I have and had. I never had trailers, and this one I think is going to be either trailer or the first episode. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, this was like a very short story about me and this podcast and why I came up with it. And I'm happy to have you here, and thank you for being here. I love you, and my intention for this show is to bring you closer to yourself, to help you hear yourself clearly when like in times of doubt, and to help you return back to yourself and back to trusting yourself when you don't feel like it. And like I have so much love in my heart for you, and I want with the help of this podcast, to reach you and to remind you that like you're a creator of your own reality, that you're loved deeply, and that you get to choose what you have in life and how you live your life. And these are my main truths that I will be bringing you back to over and over and over and over and over again with my every recording, with my every episode. And this is a very good thing to end with, to finish this trailer or this episode with. Thank you for listening, and let's hang out. I love you.